Hey everybody, we hope you're doing well. We're going to keep looking at Jesus' longest teaching in one sitting. And I hope you could really take these things Jesus is saying to heart, because he took the time to teach these things. Of all things that he could teach in the one time that he sat down the longest, these are the things that he chose to teach. We're going to break down this passage into a few weeks, but I just want to start with this one short thought. Jesus said this at the beginning of Matthew chapter 7, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For the same way that you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure that you use, it will be measured to you." And so often we think that, we've heard that, we might have even said that when others make comments about us, or even when we're tempted to make a judgment against or about someone else. Hey, don't judge, right? And Jesus even said, don't judge or you will be judged. But I want you to see something very clearly before we go into the next 2 weeks. There is a big difference between making a judgment and judging others hypocritically. This is what Jesus was talking about. You have judgment, and a lot of you have great judgment. You can look at something and know that's a good thing to do or not a good thing. You could look at a relationship and know that's a healthy relationship or that's not a healthy relationship. If you were away at college or you're living on campus right now, even with COVID, and there's a COVID party going on, I hope your judgment would tell you it's not a good thing to go do that. Right? When I go to the movies, when there was movies in the theater, I love movie theater popcorn. I know it's so unhealthy, but I love it. And they price it, right? They price it so it's usually advantageous to buy the biggest one. And if we would do that, we tend not to, but if we would, I would eat practically the whole thing. And then usually there's free refills. And so what do? Go back and get more. Right? So I know, like if I used my judgment, I know every time I do that, I come home and I feel sick to my stomach for a few hours. But sometimes we just lack judgment, right? But what Jesus is saying in this context is not don't use your judgment, but he's saying don't judge hypocritically, because then it would be used against you, or you could be judged in the same exact way. I want you to stop and think this week, especially about the difference between using your own judgment and judging others hypocritically. God wants us to use our judgment because it will actually help us make better choices in life and walk down better paths in this life that we're journeying on. So don't hear Jesus saying don't judge at all unless it's hypocritical judgment, which we'll begin to look at a couple of his examples over the next 2 weeks. But make judgments if they help you judge well. Look into situations, look into relationships, and use your judgment. Because if you have the Spirit of God in you, and you have God speaking to you and guiding you, your judgment will probably help lead you down the right path in life. Your judgment will probably lead you to right relationships. Your judgment will probably lead you to steps of faith. Your judgment will lead you to a life that will be a blessing to others. So use your judgment. Trust the Spirit to speak to you and follow his voice so that your judgment could be directed by God, and that you could see Jesus more, and others could see Jesus in us as well. So as we begin at chapter 7, I want to make sure we just have that one thought today. Jesus never said to not use our judgment, but he did say to not judge hypocritically, which many of the religious leaders back then did, and even do today. That's one of the biggest things that Jesus went against, was people who called themselves followers of God but were hypocritical in how they treated others. And we even see that in society and politics today. I hope that you'd be encouraged that Jesus said, don't be hypocritical in your judgment, but use your godly judgment to make wise choices in life, because there's a huge difference between judging others hypocritically and using godly judgment. Have a great week. God bless.